Hello, my name is Nick, and I'm going to talk about the universal rules to firearm safety and how to clear your firearm, okay? And this is important, especially for you new shooters out there. If you've never handled a firearm, this is going to be a great training video for you. And these rules are going to be universal across the board. Depending on what kind of gun you have, the operation may be different, but the rules will always be the same here, okay? And this is also good. I'm also going to talk about a lot of common mistakes that are made from people that are experienced or even new people as well, because people may know the rules, but they may accidentally make these mistakes as they go out shooting. So you want to stay focused. You want to know, what the condition of your gun is and your hand placement is at all times. So I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about the 4 rules to firearm safety, and a big part of that is clearing your firearm, so I'm also going to teach you about that, okay? All right, so rule number 1 here, okay? You want to treat all firearms as if they are loaded, and you need to know the condition of your gun at all times, okay? So for example, I have my Glock here, okay? If I take it out and I look at it right now in its current status, I'm going to notice that the slide is closed and there's a magazine in the mag well, okay? So I technically don't know if it's loaded or unloaded by looking at its current status, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the precautions so I can know exactly what condition it's in. So first I'm gonna start by dropping the magazine, which has dummy rounds in it. And then I need to check to see if there is a bullet in the chamber, okay? So turns out there was one, okay? And you gotta be aware of that. So what I'm gonna do is rack it a few more times just to be sure that there's no more in there. And then I'm pretty sure that it's clear. Most people would probably bet on it, but I'm gonna take it an extra step here. So I'm gonna bring it back, lock it into the rear position where I can actually visually inspect it. And I can look inside the chamber and I can see that there is no round in the chamber. And I can look down the mag well and I can see that there is nothing in the mag well as well. And part of this I like to do is double checking. So I'll look away for a second, maybe I got some glint in my eyes, maybe it's bright outside, and I didn't clearly see it, but I'm gonna check it again. I'm gonna look inside, nothing in the chamber, nothing in the mag well, good, okay? So now I have rendered this gun in a safe working condition, okay? So rule number 2, okay? Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are aligned and the decision to shoot has been made, okay? So most of the time, you'll see this happening when the gun is loaded. It's something that will happen when people are about to fire, but are walking towards the range. So we'll get to that position here, okay? I'm gonna load the magazine, and I'm gonna release the slide, which does in fact load a round in the chamber. Okay, now it's all about your finger position here, and we're talking about the index finger here. So if I look at it from this side, okay, if you're looking here, you should look like an amputee. You should have 1, 2, 3 fingers and 1 thumb. You shouldn't see anything here in the trigger guard, okay, nothing in that area, all right? And if you look at it from this side, you're gonna see that the index finger is running parallel to the slide or the barrel, okay, so, but it's out of the trigger guard. So until you are ready to fire is the only time where you should put your index finger inside that trigger guard here, like this, okay? So moving on, we're at rule number 3, and this is a big one. It's never point your gun at anything you are not willing to destroy. And this is probably the most common mistake, because most people end up doing this by accident all the time. And unfortunately, they don't realize they're doing it. A lot of times they'll be walking around, or they'll be swinging it, pointing it at their feet, or as they're loading their magazine, they'll bring it around in front of the barrel to get into the well, or somebody will call you and try to get your attention. They'll be like, hey Nick, and you turn and look, and as you're turning, you're swinging that gun across somebody that could possibly get shot that you don't want to get shot. So that's a big, big no-no, all right? So let's go on, we're going to rule number 4, okay? And rule number 4 is always know your target and what's beyond your target, okay? There's a lot of misconception out there. A lot of people think that a bullet stops when it hits its target, and a lot of the times that's not the case, okay? Bullets are strong, they're powerful. They can go through flesh, they can go through walls, they can even go through multiple walls. So you gotta be vigilant in knowing what's in line with your target, what's beyond your target, what's in front of your target, and what's to the left and to the right of your target all the time, okay? You know, if you're a gun user or a gun owner, you know, it is paramount to do this. You know, you need to know exactly what's going on, because you as a gun owner, you're going to be ultimately responsible for your bullet from the moment it leaves your gun to the moment it stops down the way. And you don't want to accidentally get caught for an involuntary manslaughter for shooting some little girl in a playground a couple miles away. All right, that's a bad day. All right, but ultimately, it is fun. It is safe. As long as you practice these rules, you'll have the time of your life out there. You know, it's a great date. I love taking my wife out. We've become so much closer by going out shooting together. She's an advocate of guns as well, and we have a great time. So redundancy is probably the most important thing. I know these rules probably sound lame, especially as you get more experience, but it is important to be redundant in these practices. You want to constantly practice this, have this rerunning and re-rolling into your mind the whole time you are out shooting. And if you do that, I promise you, you'll have a great time. You're going to end up leaving excited. You're going to have a great day. All right. So let's all practice safety redundantly and have a great day. Bye.